Am I ever listening when it comes to anything that you and I are saying?
Yes, sometimes.
Very rarely.
You've listened before.
While I'm adjusting, I'm adjusting everything. You can hear
Lord
me just
knows what
fine.
you're adjusting. I can't really tell.
Well, I had to get my cocktail.
Please, I've never been so happy to hear the word tail.
Right? I was going to go somewhere else, but it's
I know.
too early in the podcast for that.
So everyone should know that Nick is, I guess, reclining would be fair to say, on his couch
I am
in the downstairs area,
well,
not up in his office.
Let's set this up. It is Friday evening.
It is.
It has been a very long week. And
For a lot of people, I think.
A lot of people, it has been a very long week. It's been a very long 2 weeks because of all the storms and some of the other things that have happened. First of all, I want to apologize to all of our listeners. We were not intending on doing a classic episode last week, but there was a larger than we had actually been told until I read the article about it, a larger attack on a whole bunch of podcast aggregation systems, including ours. Ours was one of the first. So we weren't actually able to gain access to our portal to upload a new episode. And that had started when we had planned on recording. So we didn't even record one, but I wouldn't have been able to upload it if we had. So I had to run a classic at the very last minute. And that was literally it was 10 o'clock at night on a Monday night that I posted it so we could have one for Tuesday. So I apologize that we didn't do two classics back to back, but it was pretty close. It was very, very close.
Well, but I think it's important for us because classics, organically happen so seldom with us.
Yeah, that's true.
I decided to run a run of the mill version of PoddiMouths. We have a plethora of run of the mill PoddiMouths.
Plethora.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I mean, we're in the six digits. We're in the 3 digits when it comes to the number of episodes we have to choose from.
Love that.
I do too. It's anyway. So to set this up, it is Friday evening, and John and I had planned on doing the podcast. My wife has left for work, and right off the bat, my daughter, who has been requested for the last 2 weekends in a row to go to one of her friends for a sleepover, and other things have gotten in the way. The weather got in the way, and school and things like that. So she finally asked again and had to get picked up right when we were starting the podcast. So I thought I'll just bring all my stuff down and just start the podcast and then pause if her friend comes to pick her up. So I'm sitting down in the living room. She's already been picked up, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I was just too lazy to walk back 3 floors into my office so I could sit there. But
yes,
I'm also testing a brand new microphone. We've talked about it on the podcast before. It's a Tula microphone, Tula. It's tiny. It's smaller. It's about half the size of my hand. It's a very small microphone. And I wanted to see what it would do. So I'm sitting in our bonus room, which is our TV room, with my computer and my new Tula mic. And I've poured myself a Jack Daniel's rye.
Ooh.
It's not a traditional Jack Daniel's whiskey. It's a rye whiskey, which is very, very good. It's very, very smooth.
It looks delightful. Do you have a garnish?
No, it's one of the big round ice balls.
Oh, okay.
But it's cracked in half now, so it's...
You might want to see a doctor about that.
Right. I hate it when my balls crack in half.
They called me big round ice balls. That's not funny.
That was my Minnesota name. Now I live in Tennessee. It's not true.
Yes, well, there were some unfortunate people in Texas that were of the ice ball name in the last couple of weeks. My gosh.
Well, I felt bad because all their power was out, so they couldn't maintain their ice balls.
Yeah, they could not. And speaking of that, our good friend Matt Pitzner and I were speaking last night, I guess it was, about installing a whole house generator. Yeah. And I think I'm probably going to undertake that.
Are you?
Yeah.
I would be interesting. You should interesting. I would be interesting if I had a soul. Yeah. I would be interested in learning more about if you can hear that. I'm also sitting next to the dogs. They're both trying to get as close to me as possible.
They're wonderful, Bonnie and Clyde.
Now Clyde is climbing the pillows to try to find a better place to lay down because he's getting ticked off by his sister.
Good puppies.
I wouldn't go that far. I would be interested in learning more about that. I would
Yeah.
actually encourage you to record the whole process on your phone or using video so we could put it on YouTube
The whole
of
process of what?
of getting it.
Watching a workman install it?
Yes.
Well, here I am, and he appears to be sweaty.
Yes, exactly.
I
Exactly.
handsome man when the sun glistens off his brow. Some
Anyway,
man's
I
trying to
think it
sound
would
like
be
me.
interesting and I think it would be fun to learn about something like that. And I
Well,
would watch it.
it's kind of cool. I have a generator in my garage now,
Mhm.
but it's not hooked up to the house panel, which it should be if I were going to take it seriously. But I think that's what I'm going to do here forthcoming. I'm going to just install it in the place we're building in Florida. So,
Why don't we just, well, okay, so the place you're building in Florida, why don't you just go completely off grid?
it's funny you say that because I actually thought of it. There was a builder who was marketing that. It's a little smaller than the one we're building, but not a lot. And it has, can't tell you how many watts, but probably 10 to 12 solar panels on the roof. And he's advertising it as a completely off grid house. It has
Nice.
solar, of course, and it has septic and well. And so it actually runs. I would be a little concerned about running air conditioning
Sure.
in Florida because that's, you
That's
need,
not what Floridians do anyways.
well,
They
what,
sweat
they
their
don't
balls
use
off.
air conditioning?
Well,
Yes,
they
not
don't have ice
accurate.
balls there.
Well, I plan to in my house, and that's going to take power from the grid.
Yeah, you might need two houses and only power one with your solar panels. Well, so anyway, let's back up a little bit
Sure.
because the last time we talked, you were just going to meet the realtors about
Yes.
this new property, and
Yes.
now you're talking about building. So I think you should share with our listeners what's transpired over the last couple of weeks.
Well, I apparently did because I said I hadn't told my mom yet. And my mom is 92 years old.
And she's an avid PoddiMouths
And
listener.
well, I'm assuming not. I do avoid swearing, unlike some other people on this podcast. But
I don't know what you're
uh,
fucking talking about.
that was Nick, Mom. And so Lisa asked me, "Have you told your mom?" No, I said we're going to go visit, and I thought it would be more appropriate to do that. And so I saw her, and she goes, "So you're moving? Yeah, I understand." I said, "How did you hear that? Who told you that?" She says, "Well, I heard it on your podcast." Come on. So she apparently listened to the podcast
That's
to my
awesome.
surprise.
Hi,
But
Mom.
as I, hi, Mom, as I told her, no one can appreciate being away from your only kid and your only grandchild like she can, because we used to be, in Florida and in Michigan and in
Right.
Illinois and all
Doesn't
over the
she
place.
live in Florida part-time already, though?
She does not. She
Oh,
used to. She and her late husband used to go back and forth seasonally to Arizona.
snowbirds. Okay.
Yes, and I would. I mean, I actually probably lean toward Arizona. No offense,
Well,
Florida.
strangely, it's strange that you bring that up
Yeah.
because our friends and I have been talking, some of our friends, and when they listened to the podcast, they were talking to me about that, and they said, "I always pictured Quaddy as an Arizona guy. It surprises me that he would build property in Florida." I had to explain to him why you were doing that,
Yes.
but
Yes.
it's interesting that you say that because that's what everyone would think of you, anyways.
Well, I like to, and my sometimes my job requires that I go to Arizona in the middle of winter, and
That's a stupid job.
I would like to very thankfully acknowledge my work for that, but I do work when I'm there. Um, the thing I can see that's the big difference is the beach, and my granddaughter is just loving the beach, and
That's great.
that's the thing you don't have in Arizona. You also don't have the 98% humidity in Arizona, and
Yeah,
so
that's the part that I would struggle with.
and I do too. Again, it's a trade-off because Florida very seldom has 122-degree heat, which
Very true.
Arizona has quite
Very
often. And
true.
it's
Yeah.
people say it's a dry heat. Well, so's an oven. Uh, so I mean, it's hot
Yeah.
there. Anyway, I'm not going to second guess it. happy with our decision. So what happened is we did meet the realtor. We love her. She's awesome. I call her the princess of real estate. I think she enjoys that. And it doesn't really matter because we're paying her commission. So I'm sure she'll pretend to enjoy it.
She'll enjoy it if you call her the rat.
Yeah, I don't think so, no.
Oh.
But she's very nice. Met her husband as well, and we just got along very, very well. We looked at a piece of property, and they're relatively inexpensive, and suddenly they have started going up and up and up over the last couple of months. Well, hence Florida's building rate. And we decided to build because we looked at houses, and the houses themselves were going up and up in price because the Florida real estate market is stupid right now.
Yeah.
And so we were looking at these fixer uppers that were top of the market in price, and we're just, I'm out. Let's just build one because it's going to be cheaper. Anyway, so we bought this property. A lady in Michigan owns it, and an elderly lady, from what I understand, and she wasn't sure if she wanted to sell it for some reason. And so it was a hem and haw. Long story short, we ended up with this. The builder actually walked the property yesterday. And so he talked to us for a little while and said, it's perfect. It'll work great. A little longer driveway because it's set back a little bit, which doesn't bother me at all. And it'll probably be done in about a year.
Okay.
Because he's so backed up.
By that point, COVID hopefully will have subsided a little bit.
That's what we said last year.
I will actually come and visit you. I know you've invited me to come to Madison, but I just never made it. I might actually make an effort if it's warm.
In Madison, it will be sometimes.
Right. So, well, let me ask you this. We had talked about this for the last few weeks, but are you actually moving, or are you going to do the snowbird thing for a while?
We've talked about it. We're going to put the condo up for sale at some point, and I'm saying it quietly so our neighbors don't hear, because we will hate to leave them. It's a triplex, so we only have 2 other people in the condo unit, and so they're awesome people. So it'll be sad if we do sell it. If we don't sell it, though, we're blessed to be in a place where we don't have to. I just don't want to be. I just have a hard time. Why would we want a property empty for 6 months every year? One of the 2 of them, and I don't see the benefit of that. We could rent it or whatever, but I don't know. I hesitate to do that as well. So
rent it, or you could always. What's the name of that company? That's Airbnb it.
Oh, potentially. Again, I don't know what the homeowners association rules are.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I have to look into that.
Stupid homeowners association.
Well, this one is quite inexpensive.
So well, ours is inexpensive, but the rules suck. Not that they follow the rules. One of the most explicit rules that they have said in our documents: do not park on the street for more than 24 hours. And we have people that park on the street all the time.
Well, that's because they can't make it up the hill.
Well, yes, exactly. I had to text John the other day. So we, as everyone knows, awesome. We had our snowstorm and our ice storm. We had about an inch and a half of ice in Nashville.
Yeah.
And we have this massive hill so we have one entrance into our neighborhood. We only have about 130 houses in our little neighborhood. And there's this massive hill that you have to go up to get to the back side of the property where I live.
Quantify massive. I mean, is it really?
Well, it's Nashville normal. It's bigger than most hills that you would see in somewhere like Madison or Minnesota.
Okay.
I percentage grade, I couldn't tell you, but it's big enough that if there's ice on it, most people aren't going up the hill.
Okay. And how long is the actual? I mean, quarter mile or
no, not quite that long. A little less than a quarter of a mile.
Okay, 500 yards would be more than a quarter of a mile.
I would say, quite honestly, it's fairly steep. I'd say it's probably 200 yards.
Oh, okay.
Up, going up.
A couple of football fields.
A couple of football fields going up.
Got it.
So anyway, middle of the storm, I didn't really go out. Had no need. We've got plenty of food. It's not like but Jen wanted me to go to the store and get a few items. And so the snow, I guess, came in on what? I don't even know. what day it came in on, but I know I left on a Friday to go to the store. Was it Friday or Saturday I texted you?
Oh, let me look. You left on a Friday to go to the store and you
No, I
got
didn't.
back
No,
on
I just don't
Sunday?
remember. All the days blend together.
Okay.
Anyway, while John's looking up the day that I did it, because I texted him right after this happened, I was going to go to the store, and I went up my little hill from where my house is to the top of the hill, and there was a car parked, and she had her flashers on. So I just went around, and she tried to stop me. So I backed up a little, and she's like, there are a whole bunch of people at the bottom of the hill. They haven't been able to get up the hill. They're sliding. There's a guy trying to deliver furniture in a big truck, and he can't get up the hill, and it's just a mess. I don't even know if I'm going to get out. She was on her phone at the same time talking to somebody, and I said, oh, okay. I'll give the truck trying to come up another try, and then I'll go down the hill, whatever. And she's like, I don't know if you want to go out. And then she starts talking on her phone going, I don't know if I'm going to be going out. No one can get up this hill. It's horrible. I know I have 4-wheel drive, but no one, I don't know if I should leave. I mean, she was freaking out. And so I wait a couple minutes and I look at her and say, well, I'm going to give it a shot. And I drive down the hill and no problem getting out of the neighborhood. And as I'm driving out, I see 3 or 4 cars lined up on a side street just because they couldn't go up. And there are a few people milling around, just kind of trying to figure out how they're going to get up this hill. And it's pretty slushy and icy. I leave, I go to the store. 45 minutes later, I come back and I pull into the neighborhood, and there are about 8 cars lined up on that side street because they can't get up the hill.
8
cars. The box truck that was trying to deliver furniture, he's gone. Whole bunch of people just milling around trying to figure out how they're going to get up the hill. And I'm just like, screw it. I'm in my Mercedes, by the way. Mm-hmm. And I just start going up the hill. And I'm not flooring it, not going really, really fast, going about 20 miles an hour. And I just go right up the hill. No problem. No sliding, no nothing. Get up to the stop sign at the top of the hill. And the older lady standing there, the one that was in the car originally, is standing there waving at me going, what the fuck? I can just see that through my window. She's like, what the fuck?
She's an old lady.
She's an old lady. And I'm just seeing her do that. And it's like clear as day. Oh, and I just died laughing because no problem, up the hill, over, and all these cars at the bottom of the hill, all these people watching me as I just navigate this hill without an issue.
Beautiful.
Oh, I was hilarious. I had to text John because it was so funny.
It was Friday, February 19th.
It was Friday.
Do you mind if I just share what you said? I hope it's...
Go ahead.
It's I had to share with someone, which is like, I must have been your 5th choice or something.
Probably.
Thanks.
Well, no, I wanted to share with Jennifer, but she was on a call because she was working.
And then your 10 other neighbors weren't available.
No one was home. Everyone was trying to get up the hill.
I had to share with someone because I was laughing my butt off. This is the view. He sent me a picture from my house towards the entrance to the neighborhood. On the other side is a big hill going down here, but up on the way in. That's a weird statement. Yeah. Okay. Everyone is freaking out and a bunch of people can't get their cars up the hill. One of my neighbors stopped me on my way out telling me everyone's very dramatic story. I said, oh, well, I'll give it a try. Now I have to put the rest of it together. 40 minutes later, after you went to the store, apparently, I come back to even more people and more cars parked at the bottom of the hill. Nice big audience. Do you call it a Merc?
The Merc.
I call it.
I'm stealing that from Top Gear, or not even Top Gear. What do they call it now?
They do, yeah.
Grand Tour. They call it a Merc all the time.
They do call it a Merc, but I have a problem with that because of Mercury.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Anyway,
you call it a Benz.
I call it a Mercedes.
Not anymore because Daimler is getting out. It's just going to be Mercedes.
No, it's going to be Stellasio or whatever they call it now. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, AJ. At the bottom of the hill, nice big audience. Just as the Merc just charges right up the hill, laughy, laughy, laughy faces. I saw one old lady say "WTF" as I drove past, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 more laughy faces.
Yeah,
and that was Friday the 19th.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I seriously laughed for probably 30 minutes after I got home. The only place I slid was coming up my driveway, and I didn't even slide. And the funniest thing is I learned something about the car is when I did start to slide on my driveway, that was when the all-wheel drive kicked in. Like I had a little light come on and said all-wheel drive turned in or
It
4matic turned
it
on.
didn't as you were going up the
It
big
didn't.
hill?
Yeah, exactly. I had no
Wow.
problem getting up that hill.
Oh my gosh, that's
Oh, it
awesome.
was great. It was great.
Well, so how much snow estimate that you got?
I about an inch and a half of ice, and then we had about 2 inches of snow on
Oh
top of that.
gosh, you had ice below it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was a
Jeez.
lot of fun. Peyton got to slide for a lot, and the nice thing is, which doesn't happen in Nashville very often,
Mm,
is it was very, very cold, below freezing, about 2 days before we got all of it.
mhm.
It warmed up enough where there was ice instead of snow, but then it cooled down again. So, and it stayed below freezing for 2 days after that. So we
Oh,
actually
wow.
had 2 really good days of cold snow where they could go sliding or sledding, depending on where you're from, all over the place. So we were going on the hills, even that big hill that I was talking about. We had a bunch of teenagers that actually were racing down that hill, and they were catching some major speed. I mean, because it was a big hill, not like a
Racing on sleds like a toboggan
yeah,
or
yeah,
okay,
no, racing on sleds. They
awesome.
were doing it was a lot of fun, and it
Very
makes
cool.
me feel so blessed and lucky to live in this neighborhood because we really do have an incredible neighborhood where
Well,
we can
except for
actually
that
get out and
lady,
do
that
that.
WTF lady.
No, I mean that was great. I appreciate older people that are willing to say stuff out loud. It's definitely not a Tennessee thing.
No, it's not. No.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. It was honestly was a great week, and I will carry that image in my head for years to come of that older
Nice.
lady. Yeah.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
with any luck, you'll have more snow. I mean, who knows?
Who knows? Global warming or global cooling. Who
Cooling,
knows?
apparently.
Yeah, maybe someday you'll have snow in Florida.
Probably
You're
not.
going to move down there, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
But you know what? It's okay because I'm ready for it, and I don't have to hire somebody to shovel it
Right. Well, we
because
did. No
it'll
one
melt.
shoveled anything here. Let's just start there.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
that
surprise.
nothing gets shoveled
You
here.
don't even have a shovel, do you?
No, I do.
Really?
Not a good snow shovel. It's actually it's a poop shovel, but
Uh,
it works in a pinch.
my buddy Randy owned a trailer dealership, so he'd sell everything from stock trailers, mostly horse trailers and utility trailers and stuff like that. And in Arkansas, so not too far outside of Little Rock, they got snow, and they never get snow.
Hmm.
It's just he said we don't know what to do with it, and you'll see four-wheel drives regularly just blowing off the highway because they can go okay in the snow, they just can't
They
stop.
think they can exactly.
Exactly. They can't stop. So anyway, he didn't have anything to move snow around his dealership lot. So he got a fork, he has his forklift, and he put on like a plywood board on the front of it. He called it the redneck
I
snowplow.
love it. That's
It was
awesome.
great.
That's incredible.
And he sent me a picture. It's a great picture.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
ingenuity
Ingenuity at its best.
for sure.
That's
For sure.
crazy. So the John and I actually kind of planned out the conversation today, and
I'm
which is
sure you can tell because we're just
we're
trouncing from
bam,
one
bam, bam. I
subject to the
know, and it's
next,
only 22 minutes into
trying to
23
set you up.
minutes into.
And actually, I was going to set you up for the next segment by
You were
perhaps going into some sort of a dialect.
a dialect coach. No, anyway, well, that was kind of my segue because I was going to say we planned some things, and I told John these are the things that I just want to hit on because I think they're
Mhm.
funny, but this one isn't necessarily as funny. Excuse me, Bonnie. Don't let me get in your way.
That Bonnie's his dog,
Wow. Yeah, Bonnie
not
is
the
my dog.
maid.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, she licks the floor, so I mean,
Oh,
there's that.
all right.
You'll probably hear her now because I touched her. And when I touch her, she wants more petting and stuff like that. So she'll start going, mm, 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 mm.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, I bet you'll
Dum
hear it in
dum
just a minute.
dum. She
Dun, dun,
does that.
dun. She does.
The,
She's the original
dun
dog.
dun. Maybe you could teach her like something from
Law and Order.
Law and Order.
Yeah.
Criminal dogs.
Anyway, speaking
Okay.
of Law and Order, has nothing to do with Law and Order.
Right.
Unless you really want me to go the obscure route where she was in a movie once where she played a character that was based on one of the characters from Law and Order. I'm, of course, talking about Kristen Bell, who's married to Dax Shepard, who has the podcast
Your best
Armchair
friend.
Expert. Not my best friend. I think we would be friends if I actually met him in real life, but he's not. I don't know him. I don't have planned to ever know him.
Wish you did. He's actually pretty
I,
funny. So
he
I've
is very
come
funny.
to
Yeah, yeah.
like some of the
You've
stuff that they do.
appreciate him now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
more than I did because I didn't know him before.
right, right.
I'm guessing now that he's listening to PoddiMouths every week, he's starting to appreciate us as
I'm
well.
sure. I'm sure that's exactly what he's thinking right now
Probably.
as we're talking. Anyway,
Yeah.
on the road this past week, I was listening to Armchair Expert because
Mhm.
that's what I do when I'm in the car.
Just
It's a
smart.
good way to pass the time is listen to podcasts, and I listen to a wide variety of podcasts. But I happened to stumble upon one of the past episodes with Miss Erin Meyer or Myers. I don't remember if it's with an S or not. Anyway,
It
she
is without an S.
it's with an out without an S. So
Mhm.
Erin Meyer, she is originally from Minnesota. She is a professor at I cannot pronounce the name of the college, so I'm not even going to try. It's a college in France where she lives now. She's married to a Frenchman. She's got kids that have been born and raised in France. She's lived
The
there for the last
college
few
is
years.
named INSEAD, INSEAD. It is just the word instead with the T removed.
Okay, there you go.
You're welcome.
INSEAD. She is also an author and recently completed a book with one of the co-founders of Netflix called No Rules. Rules. Listen to the podcast, you'll get the joke. Anyway, I found it very interesting because one of the things, and John and I have talked about this, not necessarily on the podcast, which is the first time I've actually been able to say it that way,
Mhm.
but we've talked about how I struggle with certain forms of communication. I believe in context when I try to explain something. I believe in setting up how I came across the information before I actually come to the conclusion. It's just the way I'm wired. It's the way
Mhm.
I speak to people. And a lot of people get frustrated with me because they just say, give us the bullet points and get it out of the way. That's not how I operate. And Aaron Meyer is a professional when it comes to culture and how culture communicates, specifically when it comes to business.
Hmm.
And it was very interesting listening to the conversation because she was talking about, and I'm highly summarizing everything she said.
Mhm.
I'm just kind of throwing. I mean, it's a 2 hour conversation, and I'm trying to summarize it within 5 minutes. But she talked about how different cultures communicate in different ways, and she actually specifically called out the Dutch
Hmm.
culture.
Mhm.
I related to that because my mother was born in Holland and came over. Granted, she came over when she was 5, but her parents, born and raised, lived in Holland the vast majority of their life. And I was raised in that household, in that culture. My mom and dad were divorced when I was actually technically before I was born, they were separated, but you can listen to our past podcast to hear my entire history. So I was very much raised in a very Dutch household, and how they communicate with each other and how they communicate in general is very much how I communicate now with people. Even though I have a very long education that deals with communication, a long a long history and a long education that deals with communication, I never quite figured out why I'm more apt to communicate with context built in, more, I guess you could even call it an egalitarian form of communication where I
Mhm.
want feedback. I want everyone's opinion before a decision is made and before I move forward. And she said that is actually part of the Dutch culture. It's part of the German culture. It's part of the French culture. It's more egalitarian than it is American, where Americans want boom, 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 bullet points. This is how everything is. Where a German or Dutch culture will want you to actually come up and say, here's the theory behind everything.
Mhm.
Here's the story behind it. Here's where I got the information before you present the results or present the actual conclusion.
Mhm.
I just thought, again, there's a lot more to it, but I just thought that was so fascinating,
Mhm.
and it brought a lot of understanding to, okay, now I know how I communicate and how I might be able to perfect my communication to be able to be more effective in everything that I do business wise. And I just, again, I found it very fascinating. I would highly encourage everyone to listen to it because if you are someone who like I am, who's interested in building a career that includes other countries, other cultures, I would
Mhm.
like to be able to
Mhm.
be more global when it comes to work. That's something that I want to work towards over in my career over time.
Mhm.
This is her books and her talk was something that that helped me understand and actually made me more interested in learning more.
Well, apparently they're the only ones that will understand you as the people overseas.
That's what I'm saying. The thought I had in my brain is I don't belong. I love that. Before I say this, let me preface it with I love being an American. I am American through and through.
Yes, you are.
But the very first thing I thought was maybe I don't belong in America. Maybe I should move to Holland.
So I've traveled extensely, and because I'm older than you.
Yeah, much older.
And
a lot older.
Yeah. It's true. And way
not
more
that
mature,
much older.
Way more mature.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. I'm not even going to argue that one.
That's not true either, but okay. But it's interesting because, and people say, well, Americans, they expect you to. Steve Martin did a comedy bit that said, I was in France and they didn't even have the courtesy to speak English. Wow.
She actually addressed that. That was something that she talked about. It was interesting.
Well, and I would love to hear this. So I will listen to it because I think it would be great. Most Americans aren't really like that. I don't believe those that want to travel. I want to see other cultures, and I'm not going to say, "Oh, I like this. This is a lot better." I'm going to move here, and I'm going to embrace. Everybody has different. People judge Americans because you only know one language, and Europeans know 5 or so. Well, look at the proximity of the countries.
Right.
Look, if I had to go to Minnesota and learn a different language, which I kind of do because they,
hey there, oh geez,
cry, fella,
don't forget to put your coat on.
Your coat.
Oh, how's the weather? How's the weather out there?
It's cool.
Anyway, well, no, you make a very valid point,
it's the geography of the whole.
It is the geography, but even beyond that, the interesting thing she mentioned, and I might butcher it, so please do listen to the podcast. The armchair expert Aaron Meyer is. We think, for example, of French people a certain way because we think they might be arrogant, that they don't smile, that they're very artsy fartsy and stuff like that.
Yes.
And we think of Germans in a certain way, very specific, very goal oriented, like va 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 va, right? Or just they're very meticulous.
And they take 3 months vacation every year.
3 months vacation, yeah.
3.
Anyway, Germans think of Americans like Americans think of the French. Very, very loosey-goosey, very open, just very blah, 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 blah. Where they see themselves more like we see ourselves as Americans, that they're not as strict. And it's interesting how everyone kind of views each other. And a lot of it coincides. So, and I was fascinated by the talk about the Indians and how they view Americans versus Germans versus French, and how they don't quite understand. And sorry, I just knocked over my microphone. I'm just getting so animated. You didn't hear it? That's good.
I did hear it. No,
oh, you did? Okay.
Everyone heard it.
Everyone heard it. I can take that out in editing.
No, don't leave it in.
I probably won't. Anyway, so again, listen to the podcast. It was very interesting. I would love to dive into it a little bit more, but I know John is limited by time because he has a dinner date on a Friday night.
Oh, my lovely wife. But I did want to say about
Aaron. I can't argue with the lovely wife thing.
No, I did want to say about Erin that she has her Harvard Business Review writing in 2015 was #1 of the year.
Yeah.
And it was entitled Getting to See, Ya, We, Hi, and Da. Which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Getting to yes for all of you who don't speak it. But anyway, I will listen because she has some interesting. You had mentioned her the writing that she had that was No Rules, and that was her study with Reed Hastings, who was the co-founder of Netflix, as you mentioned. Yeah. So interesting. Yeah. Just cool stuff. She's not hard on the eyes either, I might add. Props to her husband. And, but yeah.
Of course, she's from Minnesota. I mean, that was something that a lot of my college roommates who are all from St. Louis always said is, wow, those women from Minnesota are gorgeous.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to all those Minnesota women. Then you look at me and go,
That's why they come to Wisconsin. Okay, let's finish with one thing.
okay.
I want to because Jen has posted a couple times
Uh-huh.
your kindnesses
I'm
in
not
as a
kind. Don't believe
tip of
anything she says.
stop as a tip of the hat to Downton Abbey.
Oh, Downton Abbey. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
cry
Thanks,
aye.
thanks to the snowstorm there, eh? That was more Canadian. I'm sorry.
It was not even close to
Well,
Downton Abbey.
I
I'm
had to throw
sorry.
the A in there. No, I know it wasn't. Well,
Yeah.
there is a Canadian element to that, but that's in season one,
Mm,
and no, it's season two. We won't worry about that.
okay.
Anyway, since the snowstorm, Jen and I have started, and actually take it a step further. We watched. I think I had mentioned this to you. We had
Yeah.
watched Bridgerton
Right.
and gotten into Bridgerton, and at the end of Bridgerton, Jen was said, "Man, it just makes me want to watch Downton Abbey." So we're watching Downton Abbey the entire season, all seasons, all six
Yeah.
seasons, again
Yeah.
for the third time,
We have
and
done the
then
same.
yeah, it's wonderful. So Jen has been she has been relating some of the niceties that I have done since at least Valentine's Day, and relating
Yes.
them back to everything that we've been seeing in Downton Abbey. Even though it would all have happened without Downton Abbey, it does make sense that it would be Downton Abbey esque.
Of course.
That's hard to say. Downton Abbey esque.
Downton Abbey-esque. No, so when the next time we have Lisa on, she is going to do a great impression for you of Milady and Mary.
Milady.
Oh my
Ah,
gosh, she does. It's really good. It's very funny.
I'm looking forward to that
Yeah, I
because we
can
all
do
we do
that.
is walk around going, Mr. Bates, Mr.
Yeah,
Bates.
that sounds like his wife.
It does, Anna.
Yeah,
Yep.
a little bit like that. But
Yep.
but she does a yeah, oh Robert. And it's really good when she does it. I'm not doing it service, but anyway, it's
I am
very
definitely.
entertaining.
She's going to have to come on pretty soon and do that because
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we need to make that happen.
It's fun to mimic all of them, and we do have
Yes.
a lot of fun because we will walk around saying things like it was kind of the best part is Peyton can actually come along with it or go along with some of the things like the Mr. Bates thing
Yeah.
because she's watching some of them with us, unlike watching Schitt's Creek, where Jen and I would walk around the house going, David, oh David, and then do a
David.
David. And Peyton's like, what are you? And she would start doing David,
David.
but she didn't understand where it was coming from because obviously we can't expose her to Schitt's Creek just yet. Maybe in a
Yeah.
year or so, but not yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're having a lot of fun watching Downton Abbey and appreciating all of the different nuances for the third time. It's one of those shows where you can watch it 3 times and still pick out little things going, oh, I missed that last time.
It's really, really very good. Yes,
It is very well done.
And
I'm
you're right. I'm the same way. I miss things. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the second movie that's coming out very, very soon.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
It'll come out in 2022. Yep, they've got it written. They haven't shot it yet, but they've written it.
I like what they did with the first one. It was just like an elongated episode,
Yeah,
essentially,
exactly.
And it was really good.
I hope they do.
It.
The only thing that I feel like we're gonna miss, and I hope they don't take her out, but she set herself up not to be in the next one.
Yep.
Is the Dowager Countess.
I love her.
She's the best part of the show. I'm sorry.
Gosh.
The duality between herself and Mrs. Crawley
cousin, yes.
is hilarious. I mean, that's
so
the best
good.
part of that is the
It
comic
really is.
relief in the entire show.
Absolutely is.
Have you seen I have not, but have you seen there are 2 movies that they're in together? What is it? It's the hotel, something hotel.
Okay.
I'll have to look it up.
The something towers.
Yeah, yeah.
Faulty Towers Hotel.
No.
Not that? Okay.
No, it's
Not Faulty
so there.
Towers.
It's a hotel in India.
Oh,
but they're in it together, and it's hilarious.
And Mrs. Crowley was in. Oh gosh, there was the show that. Here I go. That one guy who played who was the office lead in Great Britain.
I can see his face.
Ricky.
Ricky Gervais. Yep.
He was in I think a relatively short-lived Netflix show where he was convinced he was going to commit suicide because his wife died and yada yada. It was a very good show. He's terrific. Depressing at first, but she was a character, Mrs. Crowley, in the show, and she was fabulous. It was just really, really good.
Did she play Mrs. Crawley in the show?
Oh,
or?
No.
She just happened. The actress was in. Okay.
Yes, right. The actress.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the TV show Black Sails?
Nope.
Oh, well, if anyone has seen that, the main character, the swashbuckling pirate, the main character is actually the Dowager Countess, which her name has escaped me. Her real name is actually her son.
Oh, really?
In real life, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyone that has seen Black Sails, I think it's HBO. Might not be HBO. I don't remember.
Lisa claims there are only 20 British actors in the entire world, and
it seems like
constantly used over and over.
Yeah, it does. It seems like it. Absolutely. Anyway, John, I know you have to take off. I can talk to you as usual for hours and hours and hours.
It is so good to finally do this again because we've
absolutely. It has been a while,
a little bit. Yeah,
it has. It's been, like you said, a very difficult past couple of weeks and travel and work, and it just happens at the beginning of the year, and it'll hopefully it'll slow down a little bit, I'm sure, but we'll definitely get some more content out pretty soon.
We darn well will.
But in that, I must say goodbye. And please head up to PoddiMouths.com, check out our merch store, check out all of the past episodes, and also, like, comment, do all of that good stuff that you would on all of our social media networks and on our podcast networks, wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also head up to, I don't remember the name of the place, but there is a podcast social network that you can head up to. What is that called? I haven't been up there in a long time. I don't know.
Okay.
It'll show you a bunch of really cool podcasts.
Do a Google search for podcast social network.
You can actually do a Google search for John Quaddy or Nick Cubic, and it'll send you there.
Oh, that's not good.
No,
it's boy.
Not.
Yeah. It'll also show you our history with law enforcement.
Show you our art history?
Our
history. I see.
Law enforcement. Yeah. I'm speaking like I'm from Minnesota.
Oh, geez. Anyway. Take it easy. Have a great week, everyone. I look forward to meeting with John again and discussing absolutely nothing and everything all at the same time.
See ya.